All right. Well, we've just come into basically a fire season here in Australia, and of course, if you're Australian, you know it. And it's been pretty bad already, and we're not even in summer yet. Homes have already been lost. People have already died, and people have asked the obvious ideas of like, why didn't, why wasn't more done to prevent this? Like climate change is a thing, whether or not you feel that it is. People are asking the politicians, like, if it's a thing, why didn't you do anything about it? And it's been this limp-wristed response of, oh, well, people have lost their homes, let's just, let them grieve, and now's not the time to talk about it. And it's like, since when? Like, of course now, when the problem is here on us, that's when we should talk about it. Like, but they know that if they just fob it off for another couple of weeks, and we'll all forget, because more news stories will come along, and then we'll just not hold them accountable, and they can get away with continuing to do nothing. And it's like, when buildings catch on fire because someone hasn't done something right building it, they can't jump into an inquiry quick enough to get something done. And now, when it's just falling apart, because apparently they cut like 30+% of fire funding. This is Australia. You don't cut fire funding, you only add more. That's just, it's moronic to do anything other than that. And not only that, is that it's so dry, and we're really not protecting any of our waterways, giving that away to just anything and everything we can that is not good enough. And the government doesn't do anything. And then when people are like, hey, could we? You just get fobbed off with something else. And it's mind-boggling to think that they will try and do that. And on top of that, so many of these fires are not even natural. They're being lit by bogans that, if and when the police catch them, basically just get a little slap on the wrist, like, especially if they're little bogan kids. They caught a 9-year-old with a blowtorch starting fires. Oh, you just get a warning, and people lose their homes, but that's cool, that's fine. And it annoys me that, the people who do care about the environment, they're going on about climate change and all of that. But yes, while, again, whether or not you think that is a thing, environmental factors, if they're bad, they can make fires, when they happen, far worse. But what is the actual ignition point? Most of the time, it's us, it's people. And, we can talk about climate change all we want. Or, oh, we should have done this back-burning operation, or put more funding into fire department. But, when people start fires, the actual ignition point of the fire that creates the problem, that makes us, bring up all these issues, if when they do that, we do nothing, well, that's another failure. Like, this is Australia. We just can't afford to be weak when it comes to people, like, doing these things. I mean, so much is at stake here. And again, people have died, lost their homes, everything they worked for, gone. And some little kid, or just douchebags messing around, and they get away with it. And it's just frustratingly pathetic response. And I really hope that one day we crack down on that more, and we take this seriously, because we can't afford not to. Anyway, that's just my little rant for today. So I guess see you next time, and yeah.